Hello there, guys. What is going on? Son of Chelsea back here again for my rational perspective on Chelsea 2, Crystal Palace 0. Chelsea making it 6 wins in a row in the Premier League. And I guess sort of my feelings about the game is it's another one of those forgettable games that you need to come through as a team, especially a team with top four aspirations, and you just get a side that come down to the bridge and basically set up very defensively, not offer a lot going forward, and it's the onus on you is to break the team down. And it felt like the 12:30 games always feel half asleep sometimes, especially if it's not against one of the other top teams and there isn't really a big rivalry there. And it also feels like if the game isn't set into motion and is sort of a fuse is set early on, it can feel a little bit dull and a little bit half asleep. And that's sort of what it felt like. And it felt like the game at points was maybe drifting. But once again, Chelsea were able to find the right answers to the questions posed to them by Crystal Palace. And there were some really impressive individual displays to get the job done. I thought it was quite a frustrating first half. I don't think it was much of a surprise what that first half was and what Palace did. It was always going to be that way, and they really offered nothing going forward, I think, for the majority of the game, to be honest. I thought there were some positives in that first half of what we were trying to drive forward, but most of our closest looks at goal came from set pieces. But I think mainly some players I think to pick out today, because it wasn't the most highlight filled game. Firstly, I want to talk about Tammy Abraham, because that goal in itself, he had quite a frustrating game, to be honest. Not everything was sort of gelling for him. His first touch looked off at points and it was sort of breaking down play. He didn't have a lot to do, but as all clinical strikers must do at top teams like Chelsea, when you get that chance, you take it. And that's what he did. The composure, the skill, the sort of the calm nature that he had during that chance was everything you want to see from a player like Tammy Abraham, and looks years in front of his age, to be honest, in terms of the calm nature, because we have seen in the past with Chelsea strikers that are older than him that were worth a lot more rushing with that chance, because he's had a frustrating day and maybe he lashes at the chance but he doesn't. But that goal sort of comes from the brilliant work of Mateo Kovacic and Willian, who I thought both, less Mateo Kovacic, I thought there was a lot of times sloppy passes and things weren't gelling for him as well. But that was a moment where he brought out the best in himself and drove forward, created space, found Willian with a brilliant, smart flick through to Tammy, who was clearly onside, and it's 1-0, and that sort of opened the game up, because Palace were forced into making errors. It felt like to me Palace sort of abandoned their rigid sort of setup and started doing the things Chelsea wanted them to. At home, Chelsea, you want to see the opposition start to open themselves up, and that's what Palace did. They committed more men forward, they started playing out from the back, and naturally, because of the quality of the player they have, they lost the ball, and our pressing sort of allowed them to make mistakes. And you just felt that whilst 1-0 was a very dangerous scoreline, I did think that Chelsea were going to get more chances. And I felt like another man who I want to point out today, who was probably my man in the match and scored the killer goal in the game, was Christian Pulisic, 5-3 now. I thought he was really, all the time to me, looked a driving force for Chelsea today. He always looked inspirational on the ball. In that first half, he looked most determined, and especially just committing men. And also I thought that his skill and flair with the ball at his feet in tight areas, I thought that was really impressive from Pulisic today. And he had Guita, I think that's his name, of the keeper, made a save from him not long after the first goal went in. And I thought it was going to be maybe a frustrating day for Pulisic in front of goal, but once again, stepping up with a crucial goal. 2-0, it's a key goal like he did against Watford, and it kills the game basically dead. And Batshuayi, his mate Batshuayi, once again, those two seem to have some sort of link-up play that works together. Yes, of course, it wasn't a straight assist. It was a deflected shot that then went in the path of Pulisic. But once again, anticipation from Pulisic like he did against Watford that I thought was so impressive. And I think that is something that he just continues to grow in the Premier League, and that's something that's really encouraging as well. I think another star performer was Reece James. I thought he was absolutely brilliant today. Pocketed Zaha. You always thought that Zaha, this was his big chance to sort of prove himself for maybe a club, a potential future employer. But he didn't do that at all. And that was mainly down to Reece James, who defensively looked so good, made all the right decisions. Zaha just couldn't get a sniff today, and that was down to the work of Reece James. And I thought it was a really bold move by Frank to drop Azpilicueta. It's a hard thing to do for a captain who's done well this season, and bring back Emerson into the team. And I thought that James took his chance with both hands, and that, for me, as many of us have said, looks like the fullbacks that will be the main fullbacks by the end of the season. And yeah, that was really it. I think as well, nice to see Billy Gilmore come on off the bench. Didn't have a lot to do, to be honest, only last 5 minutes, but that was a nice thing for him to come on. And really, that was it. It was it's one of those games that you just need to get over the line, and it's something that Chelsea are doing impressively at the moment. They are finding solutions. They are finding ways to break down deep lying defenses. That is an impressive skill in itself, because last season we were getting caught out with that. I remember a few games like that where it was 0-0 at half time. We didn't come out with the urgency and we got done on the counter, or we dropped points. That was sort of a regular occurrence last season. This season we are finding answers early on, and we go into that international break really with a lot of confidence and a lot of belief. And it just, whatever you think about where we are in the table, it puts more pressure on the teams below us to pick up points. It puts pressure on Arsenal or Leicester, puts pressure on I think, as well, look at like Manchester United and Tottenham, who, yeah, sure, are floundering at the moment, but you never know how their form could pick up. So it's just getting us further and further up the table. So yeah, really happy with the win. And we go into the international break. It's cold, it's miserable, it's rainy in London, but Chelsea continuing to brighten our days. So there we go. So that is it. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video. If you did enjoy it, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell to never miss an upload. Follow me on Twitter @SonOfChelsea, and I'll see you again.